Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hunter's Gathering. I'm your producer and host, Markia McCarty, and this is the second part of our season finale for Hunter's Gathering. Remember, this is your one-stop chill stop for everything that happens behind the games: art direction, music direction, art design, all of this stuff. And with this part two episode, remember, part one was us talking about the gaming season with our Hunters Presents cast. Part two will be talking with everybody behind the camera about our development season. And we're going to be a little less structured about this, and we're just going to let the good times roll. Because as you can see, yes, I am Markia McCarty, your producer and host, but I am also Krampus's unsung helper. So this is going to be everything that we need for it to be right now. But before we jump into our talk with our Hunters Entertainment crew and family, I just want you to know some really pertinent news. So first off, you know that we have merch. If you go to huntersentertainment.com/merch, you will see right now until January 4th, those stream t-shirts that you have been requesting and asked for and they have manifested into circulation. So you have your choice of the Hunter's Gathering logo, which is our campfire, warm and joyous, and come around to it. We also have, and I love y'all for this, is this a location hazard? Which if you actually watched our last Tuesday night show, you will know that I missed a location hazard. So I'm going to have to get this shirt just to know and remind myself that. And also we have Hype Tank, which I arguably my favorite. Literally great for all kinds of situations, and having that extra layer of knowing what's going on with our channel as well. Chef's kiss. So, but that's not the only news that we have for you. Along with this, and I know that you've been chomping at the bit with it, I have too, because I'm not only a person that works here, I'm a backer as well for Altered Carbon. So, Altered Carbon, the PDF is dropping on Drive-Thru RPG next week. So that is happening, and it is being shipped to backers immediately. So what a wonderful thing to know, like, hey, happy holiday news for you. So along with that, keeping in mind with the 2020, the year of insert expletive blank here, for 2021, know that Ragnarok is around the corner. You will be having that Kickstarter and all that goodness that is happening for you in January. So definitely stay tuned for your heavy rock metal fantasy needs being met. So for our second part of our season finale for Hunter's Gathering, we are going to be talking the development season. With this, and also so that you know, this is being recorded because, like I said, I'm Krampus's unsung little helper. So I'm busy for the rest of this month. Everybody thinks Krampus knocked, but doesn't really realize there's a lot more to it than that. So introducing our Hunters Entertainment crew that are going to be doing this, who knows where it's going to go, holiday special with us. Of course, we have Ivan Van Norman, co-founder of Hunters Entertainment, and also professionally known as the Lord of Destruction. Ivan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on the show, Makia.
Oh, I see that you have come to us from your foggy, oblivious void. Is
My
that that?
foggy oblivion. Yeah, let me see if we can do something better. It's fine, but it's not as festive as it could have been.
Hey, I'm Krampus's unsung little helper. I think it's
Unsung.
festive.
Every helper of Krampus is unsung. You're either in the basket or you're unsung. Okay.
Yeah, well, when it comes to Krampus, I prefer to help be one of the basket weavers than be in the basket. So,
Yes, they
you pick
fair
your
enough.
battles.
Far
While
enough.
Ivan decides on the destructive void that will be behind him. Also, Caleb, our art director of Hunters Entertainment, also known as our dad joke master. Caleb, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Markia. And remember, at the end of the day, the sun goes down and it gets dark outside.
Indeed. Thank you so much. You've brightened my day along with that, and your T-Rex Christmas sweater bring me joy.
Thank you
I've
very
decided to
much.
keep you for 2021.
Yay! Thank you very much, Markia. That does my heart so much good.
And along with Caleb, we have Alex Hillman, our project manager, and also a figment of our imagination.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. It's great to join you again.
Oh, thank you for joining us, you mystical creature.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure.
You've been a delight to work with this year. If it wasn't for you, my figment of my imagination, I don't know how I could have gotten through just 2020 in general.
Sometimes you just need a little bit of imagination to cope.
And then, of course, we have JB, our tech director of Hunters Entertainment, and then also self-proclaimed Ivan's indentured servant.
It's weird to be on this side of the camera instead of doing all the slave work that Ivan has pushing behind the camera.
Stop it! Stop making me look bad. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to take all of the things that people blame me for and take it onto yourself, right?
Nope.
It's not even like you're a fan of me anymore. It's like you're the anti-fan. You're just the one who's just out there to try.
That's called a troll.
Yes, I have been the world's biggest Ivan troll since I ever heard of him. So I'm glad to continue that title.
And completing our crew for today, we have Knox Weiler Berth, our content producer. You probably also know him from Rag and Bone, our game master. So, of course, I call him the connoisseur of risk.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Connoisseur of risk. It's good. I like that.
Fitting. Very fitting.
True.
So yeah, we're gonna keep this easy breezy cover girl and enjoy yourselves with this. I'm gonna throw out topics with you, and we're just gonna have ourselves a nice little
First
Krampus
topic.
holiday party.
First topic.
First
I want to
topic.
know the first topic.
First topic is Gen Con.
Oh man.
Yeah, like spin my wheel and then Gen Con. Wait,
Gen Con this
there it
year?
is, Gen Con. Gen Con.
I don't even think I remember Gen Con anymore.
I know, right? That's why it's the first topic, because we're going to discover that together.
Oh man.
Take it back out of us.
Yeah, remember Gen Con? We had our first showing of Alice is Missing, for instance.
I actually have a screenshot of our Alice is Missing game from that on screen right now. Again, this is pre-recorded, so no one can actually see what's going on besides me. But just know that it's up there, so we can talk about it and hopefully remind ourselves that we actually did this game.
Was Gen Con the first time that we ran Alice is Missing as like a live play?
Yeah, it was absolutely nuts.
Yeah. People use that all the time now. They reference that. I see that just pop up everywhere. And I know Amber Cook over at Roll20, who's awesome and has been doing some great stuff with us. They constantly use that live stream in addition to our Kickstarter page as like here's how you can get more involved in Roll20, especially on your Kickstarter side of things. And what we're trying to say right now is we're a template model for Roll20 success. So
Nice.
That was a good show. That was fun.
It was a hella good show.
Yeah,
a lot of really good things happened that weekend.
It was that was also the one when we started, because that was the weekend we started the Twitch channel.
Yeah.
It was our launch pretty much.
That was the Twitch launch.
Yeah, and I remember all three of you, what we've been dubbing the stream team now. All three of you are like, all right, we're working together. Let's make Gen Con happen.
Yeah.
So,
it was a trial by fire. There was a lot to do. And instead of just running a single stream or two streams, we ran like 6 pieces of very serious content, a lot of wild threads that we had to weave together. But at the end of the day, it really paid off. And even though we were doing a virtual con, which 2020, I mean, it's just been the year of virtual con, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It really paid off.
Yeah, it was a weird challenge because I know it pitted us a lot of us against each other, and we had to like figure out how to make this work for people who didn't work together before, because Stream Team was just thrown together. But it put us in a position that we now know like everyone's perfect strengths and weaknesses, and we can make this show work perfectly week after week after. I say perfectly, but hopefully the audience at home agrees. I think it works perfectly, but it's
a system. You've become a machine. Like this year has become, you've all become a machine, making it happen. Because it's, as with all things, and again, I take some responsibility for this. I'm usually like, I like you, and I like you. Now all of you kiss and work together.
It was a real awkward, it was an
all of us
awkward
are
meeting.
Barbie dolls.
Hey,
It's like Ivan's like, yes, you're a thruple now. For Stream Team, that is me, Knox Weiler, Birth, JB Jara, and then also Alex Hellman.
I agree.
So,
Alex has definitely
Alex
become a part of this.
Has been pulling it out. Y'all, I don't
just
know.
get slipped into like every little piece of the company in some way, shape, or form is basically what it is. Like, I attest that it's just that I've been here for so dang long at this point that I have my fingers in all the pies now at this point.
You're seriously at this point, you're definitely the longest running soul in this whole operation. So you've got more knowledge than all of us combined. You have more knowledge of just the general workings of everything versus our general knowledge of all the things that we have to touch on a daily basis. So
nothing has the hunter's seal of approval without Alex interloping in some way, shape, or form.
Well, most of the time it's like if we know that like something's not like, we know there's a concern if Alex isn't touching it, like it can't be good. Yeah. Is the problem. Like it isn't good if Alex hasn't like wanted to get involved in some way across the process. So.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine the day that Alex might be like, no, I don't like that, and like,
oh no,
shut it down, shut it all down.
Awful.
Be like, what are we doing here? Table flip.
He's too reliable for his own good. Is the problem.
It's true.
And yeah, it definitely keeps him very, very busy.
I legitimately have no idea how Alex does it. We'll send messages at like 10 o'clock, which Alex is hours ahead of us. He's on a different time zone. And I'll get a message on Slack, and it'll be like, before I send a message, it has a little notification above it. It's like, did you know that it's 3 a.m. where Alex is? And I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. But then he responds immediately. He does not sleep. He does not stop working.
It's the power of insomnia, really, is all that. So I'm just always awake. So
the good bad about Slacks is that they'll actually do the things where they'll say, oh, it's a different time zone where you are. You can send them notification anyway, but most of the time it's just oh, I send the message and then it doesn't give them a notification. It's just when they come back they can look at it, right? So that means that Alex at 1 a.m. has his effing Slack open and is doing whatever, but he just sees it. It's not like you got a notification, he like rolled out of bed and was like, oh, JB, that asshole, right? He's just like, he's there already, probably doing layout.
Well, that's the trouble when you get a reputation as being the miracle worker.
Yeah.
Well, it's the problem of loving what you do as well. Like I enjoy all the work, so for me, it's really hard to view it as work, even though it technically is. Even like the more jobby parts of the job, like it doesn't really bother me. Like I still feel like I'm talking about cool stuff. I'm making tabletop games happen. I'm making shows happen. Like this is awesome. How can I complain about it? So, and in fairness, I think I get paid all right. So it's not like it's a problem there. So
that's great.
Yeah. Oh, Alex, I can't help but notice this shirt that you're wearing is kind of iconic and probably relevant to our conversation.
Yeah. Let me back it up a little bit. There we go. Ooh,
Alice's missing t-shirt.
Yeah. They are so soft. They're so soft.
If you'd like to see more, you can definitely check out Alex's OnlyFans page.
Alex is missing.
Ooh, steamy.
I love this shirt. I gotta say, like a shout out to Spencer and the whole team who have made this happen.
here.
But like the branding on this product has just been through the roof. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of the team now, but it really is outstanding. I don't wear printed tees, but Hunters has been tempting me a lot recently.
There's been some good stuff. We have some more like lobbing softballs in the work for 2021 when it comes to, deciding how we want to do our stuff. Because just so everybody knows, and I don't mind saying it, it's like we really love making quality merch. We like the games too, but we really love the quality merch, and we're just trying to find avenues in which doesn't destroy all of our development team and everything they have to do, and like having Chris go and do designs like for t-shirts every couple of weeks. So we're trying to find more solutions to provide like cool branded stuff that's got cool Hunters things on it without like wrecking the team. But we're talking to people.
I mean, talk about machines.
people.
Chris is a beast.
Yeah.
I don't know how he does what he does.
Yeah,
Years
Crazy.
and years he has been forged in the fire of of companies who make unreasonable demands at all hours of the day. So,
Yeah.
true.
And where for
Such
any
crazy turnaround.
that don't know for certain who we're talking about, co-founder Christopher J. Della Rosa,
Yeah.
and I believe head of development for Hunters
And
Entertainment.
design, yeah.
And
Yeah.
design.
We've been doing this, like, Chris and I started this whole damn thing years ago when we just wanted to make a zombie RPG and wanted to see if it worked, and it was he just wrote game rule systems for fun, and it just kind of was, oh yeah, let's make a book. And then Ivan, this is very beginning of Ivan things to do. I'm just like, okay, I booked us at Gen Con. We're going to Gen Con. We have a booth. The book needs to be ready by the time we go to Gen Con, everybody. So,
Yeah,
Way to set that deadline.
Yeah, when the Lord of Destruction refers to himself in the third person, one must take notice.
Exactly.
The very beginning of blaming Ivan for all your pain. It's a beautiful story.
it's literally, it feels so bad, but it was the only way we were going to light a fire under all of our asses to actually deliver it. And then that first year was just like, I kid you not, like we didn't know we had to ship some books to our hotel room just to have some books on the first day before the pallet arrived, because like the trucking company arrived with the books, and they're like, okay, well, they're gonna arrive on like the day before like the booth opens. So like we had to go set up our booth, but we had no idea when the books were going to show up. So just as a backup, we had like 6 boxes of Outbreak Undead first edition, like this 4-pound book, right? And they have like boxes of 8 of them, and we're walking along downtown Indianapolis and with like swamp humidity, walking like 4 blocks of the convention center in August. Just like we didn't have a cart. We didn't have like a push cart or smart things that you do now. We were like carrying it like just awkward boxes of books. God, we were so dumb.
Gen Con's load-in process before the convention, if you're not familiar with it, is a well-oiled dumpster fire.
Yep, well-oiled dumpster, an expensive well-oiled.
Yeah, very
dumpster
expensive.
fire.
And I mean, it's not the convention's fault. It's just so much happens in a very short period of time that the loading docks are crazy, and then trying to get into whatever spot you're working out of, and to be able to manage these, because the convention is full of really large boxes, full of books and other games and things that it's a considerable amount of weight.
And Knox would know this because he built Shit Kickin' Sally for Kids on Bikes, the giant display that we had at Gen Con 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years now. Yeah.
2 years ago. Yeah. It was a cool display.
Yeah, it was a great display. It was a lot of fun to build.
So eye-catching.
There was a photo op. I'll have to pull it up. I know I'm sorry, Marky. I know you want to talk about Gen Con this year, but I'm just like,
please. This is what I'm hoping for.
Let me tell you a story about shit kicking.
Yeah, no.
first real foray into Hunter's Entertainment when he came in with his staple gun and he made it look amazing.
Wasn't that the same year, though, Knox, that you ran around dressed up as a rag and bone merchant for us?
Yes.
Or was that,
Yeah. I did that
Ooh,
that year.
what?
Yep.
yeah,
Tell me
running
about
all over the convention. So we set up like a special scavenger hunt that year. It was a zombie survival scavenger hunt where we partnered with a bunch of different brands on the convention floor, and we had these little boxes with RF readers, and you could come by our booth and get a little badge that would set you as a survivor. But there were a few infected running around, and if you got too close as a survivor, you'd get sick and turn into an infected and then potentially infect others as you were running around. And the goal was to get to all these different locations, which would then set you as a medic, which means you could heal other people that had been infected potentially. And also get you into a drawing for like we did, what was it? It was
the backpack,
it was a full
the
bug
big
out bag. Yeah.
full bug out bag. Yeah.
Yeah, so you got a bug out bag with the books and everything for the game. And yeah, it was we had as one of them, it was a roving location every day where it wouldn't be in the same spot. And we had Knox just in an amazing costume. I can't even imagine how hot you were running around that convention. Like he was covered head to toe and just like it had to be multiple layers. Like
prosthetic
there was
makeup as well too.
If you have pictures, you have to put this on Twitter or something, because this is so pertinent to Rag and Bone right now, and I love that this stretches, like this has a history. It's got legs. It's got legs, y'all.
I'm gonna find it because it was brilliant. It was a perfect tribute to kind of the Resident Evil 4, like what you buying, what you selling. So,
I'm pretty sure if you jump back, because we keep all the blogs up, you'd have to jump back a little ways because obviously this was like, 2 years ago now, 3 years ago now. But the months after Gen Con, the Hunters Gathering blog post that we would have up for that will have a whole buffet of pictures in it. I know that. We got to have them somewhere tucked away as well.
I'm finding it. I found the album, so I'm just gonna scroll through it. Where actually, I keep forgetting. Sam took such great pictures. Sam got a photo of like the first in the first part of the album. It's like I can't share screen because it's gonna mess up all of JB's hard work.
Yeah,
destroy everything.
This might be one of those things where it's like, if you do a link in our Zoom chat, we can click on it.
I'll put it
and
up.
then we'll get that picture to JB to hopefully.
JB might be able to do some like super magic.
Is that
don't care. I'm just gonna post it in if he wants to do with it.
Let's see if I can manage to get that put in while we're all talking.
Now, to be fair, don't harp on JB if you can't pull it off because
literally this is
screen.
No, please.
We're just doing this as it goes. Like
turn up the heat on JB. Let him know that he's a disappointment to all of you.
Well, first of all,
Ivan's trying to shift that blame.
I'm only seeing one picture. Am I wrong?
Ivan, what you shared is a bunch of people waiting in Capitol Corridor.
Yeah, that was the photo before people come in. Like that was before they all rush in to get into it. So that's the first photo. I'm going through the whole thing. That was on the first day, on right before doors opened, when Sam was like, taking photos of people right about to rush in to the game. I'm scrolling through it. This is the
for any who might be confused when he keeps referencing Sam. That's actually my wife. She's been coming to cons with us for a number of years now, and does photography for us a lot of times on site because she is an amateur photographer on the side. So a lot of the con shots and stuff that we throw on our Gathering blog tend to come from her. She's usually in the chat as I think Sammy May 86. Oh, Knox made it, or Caleb made it his background.
Caleb's made it his background. You know what? We just solved it.
This too.
That's what we do. We make someone volunteers.
That's so good.
We make it the background.
I don't even know how to set backgrounds on Zoom. I will admit that now.
You go to video and then you grab the sandwich menu.
Green screens. I'm right now in the wintry wilderness with Krampus, but I'm sure my seasonal Lord and Master will let me changed that.
So here's the image on screen for everyone who was wondering. I did get it up, so now we don't just have to look at it behind Caleb's body, but it is up and live. So this is everyone trying to storm in before Gen Con actually started.
Yeah, that's the look from inside the vendor hall, and that's one door. Like we see that at every door, and you just have to sit there being like, it's coming.
It's so weird to see it now, just in the perspective that we have. Oh, here's Alex. This is a great photo of Alex talking with Jake for kids on bikes. I have to. Man, I'm just going down hard nostalgia lane, y'all. We're doing this.
Okay, well, let's talk about some more about Gen Con this year that we were doing. Like, because not only Alice is missing, but we had Outbreak Undead, Altered Carbon that we were able to do.
Yeah, Altered Carbon was a great game. That was a good one. We did some. That was like the first time we really ran it besides the convention. It was fun to see everyone actually tackle the game system, and more importantly, was that the weekend that that Xander ran it, or
no, that was that. So Xander actually ran a little mini campaign that was our sneak peek at Osaka.
That's right, the Osaka session.
That comes a little later though.
Right.
I think that weekend.
Did I run it?
I think at Gen Con it was Ash Minnick.
Oh, Ash ran it at Gen Con.
With
yeah, because you ran Outbreak, I think, Ivan.
No, for Outbreak for Gen Con, it was
or was that B-Dave's years?
It was B-Dave.
Day Zero.
We did Outbreak on Day Zero.
So I have the Gen Con picture from Altered Carbon up on screen. But yeah, it was a phenomenal cast, and we got to actually work with Aki, and this was their primer into working on Osaka because they didn't have the experience working with this game because it's a brand new game, and we just threw them into the foray and said, hey, make Osaka, just do it, and they had no idea. So this is their learning experience of learning how the game actually works, and it was a phenomenal game.
Well,
it's sneaky. It is so good, y'all.
Yeah,
so good. I get to look at that on a regular basis and meet with Aki each week. Actually, we're like this week. I think is our last meeting before we go into like the holiday break because I'm not mean and I don't make my writers meet with me on like Christmas Day and New Year's Day and things like that. But yeah, it's actually tonight. I'll be actually checking in with Aki again about Osaka and looking over things. So
there's been some great writing, like the writing philosophy that Aki has around it is exactly what the world needs, and they've been very accommodating to the notes that we've had to get back as well too about stuff that we're like, sorry, can't do that.
Which has been surprisingly little as well. I just want to throw that out there. Like it's been a pleasure working with Skydance, honestly, because they've been very open to us. It's basically like we really only get pushback if we accidentally start stepping on the toes of something that they had in mind or something that they had already put in place. They're very, very open to the ideas that we want to do with the universe. And yeah, Aki had some just brilliant ideas. Caleb can attest to this as well. He's gotten to come into a couple of my meetings here since obviously our art director, we have to start figuring out the art direction for that book. There's
like those kaijus, those kaijus.
And that idea has developed so much since you guys got to like just do that like early poke around with the concept. It's really coming along.
Caleb, can you tell us some stuff about this, like from an art standpoint with Altered Carbon in general?
Absolutely. I got to tell you, well, working with Aki and with Kat as well over on Birmingham, just when you think of Altered Carbon, you think of the television show. You might be familiar with the books, but from my perspective, we get to working with these two authors. They both have very unique voices, and they have really unique things that they want to do with both of these supplements, both of these locations. And as a result, they have totally different like visual vocabularies about what they want each place to sort of look like, as far as like each city as a character. Osaka is this incredibly gorgeous, sort of really, really old section of Japan, and it's kind of gentrified, but at the same time, it's got these areas that are almost like natural parks, these castles and forests. And Aki had this amazing idea for how to sort of capture a unique feel for the character of the city, and it was just amazing. And the same thing is like a day or two later, we Alex and I had a chat with Kat on Birmingham, which is up in England. Completely night and day. It was just so cool about how Birmingham is this sort of like soul crushing industrial complex that stretches from one coast practically into the middle of the island of Britain, or in England. And it's just this monstrous sort of sprawl of brutalist architecture, and it just looks so much like each one is going to have a completely different set of things to bring to the game, and things that players and storytellers will be able to enjoy, the game masters. And I feel like it's just from an art direction point of view, it's like, kid in the candy store. It's just amazing. I can't wait to start on these. Same thing with
territories, right? It's just a different, like you said, the whole world is so different, and we've only ever seen Bay City, right? So what's Altered Carbon look like in those areas?
Yep.
It's completely different.
And that's what I really love about it too, is like it's still very Altered Carbon, but it is not Bay City. This is not the exact same thing that you've seen before. We are definitely giving you a lot of new stuff here.
Yeah, well, you think you might know what cyberpunk kind of means. It's nighttime. There's lots of, it's Outrun. There's lots of neon. There's lots of, it's Blade Runner. But this is very different. Both of these places have entirely different shape languages, and they're arranged differently. And they have different reasons why people would like to stay there, and different advantages to both and detriments to both. And both Aki and Kat have these really fun, very ambitious goals for both of these locations, and I cannot wait to show what the visuals of these locations are going to be. I've got a dream team of artists set up. As art director, I'm the one who gets to sort of assign artists for all the interior art, for all the exterior art for each of these games. Alex's beautiful shirt was designed by Julian Greep, and all the interior art for Alice is Missing, for the most part, was done by her as well. The animated timer was done from her art. Being able to work with artists that have their own voice and that can contribute something of themselves, saying something about themselves, and having it sort of like translate into the game is just such an amazing treat. I really have one of the best jobs in this company.
As a real quick aside, because all of us are idiots, the very first convention that we did that threw us all together wasn't Gen Con, it was RenCon before that. And I know that because I have a screenshot of that Altered Carbon game as well, and this is when I can tell the visual difference between what I did when Ivan first said, "You're doing this job now," versus when I had experience doing it. So this is the still from our Altered Carbon game from RenCon, which still had Aki, but it was Markia. It was Jason Charles Miller.
I played Altered Carbon?
You did. You were.
Oh wait, no, I did.
You were Devange Arrow. Satine Phoenix with Ivan running it. So this was the first Altered Carbon look. So this is everything I said about Aki learning the game at Gen Con. Take that back. It was RenCon.
Okay.
You are forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that game now. Yeah. I was I was like a 50 or 60-year-old detective that got re-sleeved into a 17-year-old raver's body. Right.
I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. Devange Arrow. Oh wow. I'm gonna have to actually go back to that one. I remember that now. Okay, so yeah, we had a bunch of things that happened with Gen Con, like different games and different talent and everything with that. But there's been a lot that has been with this season, like a lot of things art directed, and then also a lot of things that had to just have Alex's guiding hand, so like a whole lot of Caleb and a whole lot of Alex in there. So just to we'll just like spin the wheel. Okay, so for Alex, Caleb, and also JB, what was the most challenging, and don't think like challenging in a negative sense, what was the most challenging project that you had to take on hand for our 2020 development season, uh out of what we've been putting out?
For the stream or for the behind the
Well,
scenes business stuff?
for the technical director aspect
Uh,
of it, then I would say for the stream, for this particular conversation. But don't worry, there'll be future ones where we can talk about more deeper behind. We're keeping it front facing right now.
I mean, my answer is pretty simple. It's Alice is Missing, hands down. That is it
Yeah,
is
there
the
was a lot of
largest.
moving pieces.
It is the biggest technical feat that I've ever been a part of, and it took me and Spencer on Zoom calls for like 2.5 weeks trying to figure out how to actually get that to work. And now that we have it done, it takes like no time to get it set up, but just figuring out how all those moving pieces work and to create a scenario where you not only see the conversation that each individual person's having, but also the emotion that their faces are portraying at the exact same time was nuts. But again, we have a process in place now and we can rinse and repeat, thankfully. But
And once you make the system right, once the
yeah,
system's in place, you can it's yeah, but I remember all of the technical, like just having you. I think we actually had to bring in Holly Pearson to
yeah,
help with the process as well too, who is an amazing TD. Holly had to come in and also just we had to be like, Holly, we have no idea why this is doing this. Can
yeah.
you please walk us through it? So, so good for both of you for making it happen. Spencer's always dedicated to making his stuff look amazing, so we can always depend on him for that. So, you know.
Knox, how about you? What is one of the most challenging aspects that you might have come across with this 2020 season as a stream team member? Like one of the things off the top of my head is possibly with there's a lot of different games that we have had since our Twitch launch. Like Gen Con alone was Outbreak Undead, Alice is Missing, Altered Carbon, and then speaking of our Tuesday nights, getting together the Hunters Presents crew, like my thought is all this talent wrangling that you have to do, but you tell
Mhm.
me what's like the most challenging thing that you've run into for our 2020 development season.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, the talent wrangling kind of solves itself because between Ivan and myself and many of the people here on the stream, we have such a wonderful network of people that we work with on a regular basis and genuine friends that are in the same sort of world that we're swimming in right now, that for Hunters Entertainment to make the shift over to doing live content as well as all of their published work, it was kind of a natural progression, you know. Ivan and I both kicked around Geek and Sundry for so long. Obviously, Markia, you were there quite a bit as well. And all of us have just kind of like networked together this really kind of amazing mesh of varied and diverse talent that it kind of solved itself. I oftentimes find myself disappointed that I can't bring everybody that I want into something when we're doing these things because we have such an embarrassment of wealth when it comes to people that we use in these games.
We're
Um,
super fortunate as a publishing company to have a background of producing content anyway. Like Knox said, he's been working in this industry even before he was doing streaming, but even with Scabby Rooster, you were
mhm.
in this space for years, talking to all the people who are great improvers, who are great players, and it's not. All we have to really do is reach into the bag at this point and bring some
Yeah.
people who are incredibly talented, and a lot of publishers don't have that option because they just aren't as it's so shitty to say, but they're just not as involved in the um streaming nerdy culture that we are. I mean, it's the classic like Hollywood's thing. It's like you got to know the right people, and you got to know the right such. And between Knox and Marquia and myself, we know a lot of people who all love to play games. And come on, who doesn't want to say no
Right?
to this guy?
I've been laughing at that
Guy.
the moment you put it up.
I can't believe you haven't seen this yet. I mean, this was a lot of fun, and when I was doing that at Gen Con, first of all, having people not know who you are and to be able to kind of lurk around that sort of a situation and also be extremely weird, so people really kind of are like
I
put
had
on
to let
edge.
security know that he was walking around so they wouldn't kick him out. I had to inform Gen
Oh.
Con security. I had to take a photo of him and be like, this is an event. This is a cosplayer that's doing an event for our company,
Mhm.
not a homeless person. Don't
Because I
throw
was
him
digging through the
out.
trash. I was actually going around as the Rag and Bone. My favorite story of this is Ivan, you were on a panel
Yeah.
and you were up on the front. I forget what the panel was for specifically. I think it was some sort of like business and Kickstarter type panel. And who was it? It was one of the
It was
producers from Geek and
Jamie.
Sundry.
It was Jamie
Yeah.
who was the head of events for Legendary.
Hmm.
Because I was talking with her, um, and she's I forgot. Yeah, you ran into her at some point, but she's like the person who runs all the events for Legendary and works directly with the marketing team at Legendary at the time for the year. And she was like shocked and appalled. She's like, who is that person digging through the trash? She like went into crisis control mode
She
immediately.
did.
Oh,
She really
poor
did.
thing.
And so the game
Oh.
was that the people who were playing along with the hunters, the interactive game to try to locate all of these different pieces within the Gen Con floor plan, and then to be able to bring them back and enroll to win this contest, they had to find me. And so my whole thing with it as the Rag and Bone was that I was going to be at hunter events. And since Ivan was on all the schedules, if they were going to go to that event, then they would get the added bonus of, oh, there's the Rag and Bone Man. Like I can go and get this marked off of my
And it
scavenger
totally
hunt list.
happened too. Like you had
Yeah.
you gave away because if you and I'm going to post the boat of it right now, but the RFID is hidden on him, so he had to open the code up for people to go and get their badge.
And they didn't want to do that. It was a lot of fun. But so I was in on this panel and I just kind of wandered in and I was all hunched over and I started to dig through the trash and kind of take things out. And I was looking at things and I kept like looking suspiciously over at anybody who would meet my eyes. And Jamie was in the back of the room because, business mode producer, just kind of looking over stuff. And I've never seen a look of sheer terror that like
Oh.
I'm sorry, my
The
black little heart was
Virgo in me
delighted.
is like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, and I mean, like it was a testament. I think that when you got a close enough look at my face, you realized, okay, that's a mask. That's not real. Like when you get close enough, but at a distance with the hood down, you don't really know what's going on. And it is Indianapolis. It's a major metropolitan area. It's a convention. Homeless people could easily wander in and just start kind of walking around. But I was also covered in bones. So
Yeah, it's like this.
there's
He looked like
Yeah.
this basically.
Since you're it looks very intricate with the costume with your overlay. So
Yeah.
my first thought isn't that you're a person who's homeless. My first thought is that you're cosplaying something that I have no idea what it is. So like that's my first thought with it. Alex, so what are some challenging the challenging aspect for you for the 2020 season?
So honestly, I think the most challenging facet, but also probably one of the most interesting, has been working to get the Scry application going.
Mm.
Oh.
So that is an interesting piece of technology. The most interesting part of it is coordinating with Knox to make sure that we're able to do very outbreak centric things with it. Um, without also breaking the flow of the game. So we wanted it to be something that was going to be impactful, be able to be properly flavored, but also not necessarily just become the focus of the show. We still wanted, obviously, the show itself to be the focus. And yeah, it's been difficult trying to work out like various technological limitations and trying to temper our own desires at some points. So coordinating with the foreteller crew and being told, like what's a reasonable timeline for various things that we're looking for. And
Oh, you have to
all of
tell
that.
me what this tempering of desires is. What was that desire
Well,
that y'all really wanted?
I mean, it's not like it's never been a situation where we're not going to get the thing that we want. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes we have to wait longer than what we'd personally desire. We want to get a feature going potentially like right away. Like I know one of our big ones right now.
Is it
And
watching the world burn? Because you already got that.
yeah, you guys set that up for me very nicely, actually, on
Yeah.
the show. We got a lot of fire going on. But no, it's I think one of the biggest ones that we're really excited about right now that we wish was kind of in place right now, but we have to wait a little bit to make sure that we can get it to where it needs to be, is the mapping functionality. That's really gonna shift the whole Scry game into an entirely different realm. Like if people are interested by the interaction that we have now, just you wait, because that's going to be a whole new game.
We're very excited about it. And I do want to shout out Alex again for all of the community management that he does. That has been huge. And it really is a big part. And I think that's when we talk about a stream team and we talk about all the video components, I think it's really easy to forget that with interactive live media, that there is a whole component of being able to manage not only the chats and the things that are going through and making sure the Discord is connected, but it is meant to be interactive. And because of that, you need somebody who's really at the core of all of it, helping you to pull those threads together, because JB's knee deep in technical work. You and I, Kia, are often on screen and producing from behind the scenes. And without Alex kind of helping to manage and maintain all of the action that happens with the community, it wouldn't be as immersive as it is. And Scry, we knew right off the bat, because Ivan brought this to the table and was like, listen, there's a company, they've reached out, what can you do with that? And it's like really one of Ivan's strengths is like seeing the potential, snatching onto it, pulling all the great threads together. He's already said it once, but like a unifier who kind of like grabs all the best elements of something and kind of like throws it off onto the side and sees what happens. But there is so much work that has had to go into the Scry as far as developing it, not only on Foreteller's side, but Alex and I kicking back and forth ideas on how it can be implemented in an interactive setting, because we don't want it to be the same thing that everybody has seen on Twitch 1,000 times before. It's not just like, if you give us $1, we'll give somebody an extra roll. It is just starting. And what we have in the future is very exciting. And talking about this map implementation, it's going to, I think, blow people's minds.
Can't wait. I can't wait. We need to take all the screen caps. We need to everybody needs to know about this process. It's just it's the unlimited potential around Scry is so huge, and I truthfully believe it's one of those tools that will bring streaming and interactivity up to a different level, because it feeds into, are you watching? Are you subbing? Are you giving bits? Well, great. And normally those are all dance monkey dance kind of situations, but now we're making it a game. Like you're helping in the game. It's not, oh, you get an extra D20 or things like that. It's like you get resources. You unlock so many parts of the things that are going on. I just realized I didn't want to say any spoilers, so I'm shutting up right now about anything that could happen.
Some of the things that Ivan's talking about haven't been implemented yet, but it is fun to watch, because I remember back in July when we had our first meeting with Foreteller, and the pitch that they gave us for Scry is nothing what it is now. It has changed so much, and it really comes down to both Knox and Alex like figuring out what the stream needs and helping Foreteller tailor Scry to make sure that it fits all the actual needs. Because from a company that helps board games, which is what Foreteller does, to moving over to live media, it's such a different world for them that they don't really have. They do now, but they didn't really have the scope of what is needed for that. And these two guys on either side of me completely changed the game. So it has been phenomenal to watch it change from that very first meeting to what it is now.
That company's
Kia,
going to get so much from us.
Yeah.
I agree. Kia, can I give an example? Are you okay with me breaking down a quick example of how we've been using Scry? Because there's something that
Oh.
happened this last week that I'm going to pull back the cover on a little bit.
Oh, heck yeah. Do that. And then I also have something that is important to me to say about a possibility for Scry coming up.
Yeah.
And then I
absolutely.
really,
Love to
after
see
that, I
this
really
too.
want to know what Caleb's challenging aspect is after that too.
So last Tuesday, and again, it's not a spoiler. I mean, they're in a mine shaft and they're working their way through. They're trying to survive. One of the NPCs was taking an action and was like, every time that they'd start moving down a corridor, because they were keeping this NPC alive, which so much of that game is based on resources, and people are also resources. So you have to protect certain NPCs in certain ways so that it kind of grows through. Well, Alex and I knew that we wanted to have some gameplay in there for chat. And so an example of that is that on this past stream, we had reinforce mineshaft A, reinforce mineshaft B, reinforce mineshaft C with no explanation. And during the game, you would watch as this NPC would start to uncover these denotations for the different areas within the mine as the players actually are working through. Nothing was said during the game. I didn't stop everything and put a big giant red arrow over something. But I was blown away after the stream when JB is like, oh yeah, they got that. And so the trick was the NPC would uncover something and it would say, like the first one that she uncovered was Aaron. Then I believe she uncovered Bancroft and Carlton, which are Major League Baseball players that are involved in some, I'm not going to say everything because I don't want to start spoiling, but there are other aspects to it. But the main point was the first letter of each of their names told you which mine shaft you could reinforce. And as the players were moving through, if they were going to put these scry resources into one of these shafts, it's best to do it in the one that the players are going to end up in. So they ended up reinforcing mine shaft C, which is the one that led to the mine shaft that they ended up in. So they absolutely made the right choice. They figured out the little interior puzzle and they solved it very quickly by putting the resources in the right place, because if they had tried to do it to all of them, they wouldn't have succeeded. We initially built it so that there weren't enough resources to be able to take care of everything. So when people are going through the scry, the choices that the chat makes are so crucial, because that is going to determine success or failure on some level. But it doesn't affect the game in a way where, like, Kia, you playing the game, I would imagine, didn't really notice what chat was doing in that moment.
Yeah, I didn't notice for them doing a reinforcement of mine shafts.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a particular moment where it became a location hazard, and
Mhm.
then because roll 20 was
Right.
feeling nice at that time, and I didn't think of it being a location hazard, I didn't claim my points with it. But with that role, all I can think of is that if, for instance, people had bought Risk or something, that could have been like a very, very bad thing that
Mhm.
happened during that time.
Or possibly
But I
even
did
like
figure
lack
out
of.
the baseball thing, which is interesting because I don't know sports, but I know DiMaggio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got easier as it went along. At first, I used some
Yeah.
more obscure baseball figures. I don't really know baseball either. I used to know enough of it to be dangerous. But yeah, there's stuff in there. But that's just it. Is like we found a way to incorporate it that was actually using the Scry app to give the players in chat an opportunity to tangibly affect the world without interrupting what is happening.
Just
It's the invisible hand.
super quick aside. So again, Knox and I had a conversation after that stream ended. I just want everyone who's watching right now to know how disappointed Knox was that you guys were smart enough to crack his code right when he started telling it. He was like, "I worked so hard to get all these pieces, and this is the," and you guys were like, "Nah, this is definitely it. We're gonna do this."
It wasn't disappointment.
Um,
It was certainly I was impressed, and I was very, very much planning on how much harder I can make this now.
But it just
It
it
proven
just goes to
you
themselves.
should
show
be. You should be impressed at our community. They gave us Hype Tank.
Yeah, it show how invested the viewers are. It's not just people turning on TV show and mindlessly like sitting there and watching. Like they're in it. They're trying to figure out every detail. They're sussing out every word that comes out of Nox's mouth so they can figure out the code. And it's a beautiful system because I've seen a lot of Twitch streams and no one's ever as engaged as they are in our chat. So and
the level of coordination that they have with it is the thing that really astounds me, because like Nox said, we built that last one with the intent that it was 100% impossible for the chat, with the amount of points that they would have available, to do all the big ticket tasks that we put in there. We explicitly set it up that they would have to try to figure it out, and the chat absolutely worked together, because it would be very possible for them to go in, and if they were just passively watching and doing what they felt like doing, people could have dumped into all sorts of different stuff and none of those tasks would have been completed, and then all their time would have been wasted, because not only did they invest the time, but they didn't get the job done. So they actually worked together. People coordinated out. There was a lot of back and forth going on in the chat of, hey, I've got 4 that I can put in on this particular task. We need a total of 15, so we still got this much left. Who else can get in on it? And no one would make their purchase until they knew that they were going to get it in the end. And when we did the mine shaft, the funnest part about that one is there was all that build up to it. And then everybody starts making their investments when they're like, okay, we have our 15. And then all of a sudden there's just 4 left lingering there. And it was because one of the people in chat was just having a side conversation and they didn't notice that everybody had started doing their investment, but everybody was all like, did we just get betrayed? Is there a traitor in the chat? What's going on? Oh no.
Oh, wow. The last thing that I want to say about it is that this is the training wheel version, and I'm really excited about what we're going to do in the future.
Okay, well, something that I'm going to say into that, and then we're going to move on to Caleb. Something that I just feel like this is something that should be a Scry thing, and I'm just going to throw this in unbiased person here throwing this in. I think, Ivan, I don't need that head shake, mister. I think what we need is hashtag they need points. So I think we should have a Scry thing in there where if the chat decides to put in points for us to get some competency points released to the players, I mean, if there are cocoa beans, competency points, I'm just...
Good observation. They both use the word "seed."
There you go.
I will say that while, from my own perspective, and this is just to give you a little more behind the scenes, I doubt we'll put in competency points solely because we do already have a system in place for that. But there might be other player-related resources that could make a debut at some point in time. And it is something Nox and I have discussed and continue to discuss whether or not we should do. So
what Alex is politely saying is that I'm a bastard and won't allow it.
But we did allow for risk. We did allow for risk though. So.
They actually fought me.
Risk. Oh
they
my
actually,
gosh.
I actually fought them on that. I was like, I don't think I want to add risk into this, and they. Like everybody that was in that conversation was very much like, we should try it out and see how it works. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see what happens. And they started pumping into risk. And I was like, okay, well, there's definitely going to be some sadists in the chat, and we'll just see how it works out.
Yeah,
and
I'm just saying, if you have trolls, you also need elves. And I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, just keep in mind that nice cache of supplies you guys found in that room. That's chat's doing. So you've got some elves.
There was one moment though last Tuesday where there was finally a good series of rolls from Roll20, because Roll20 hates our team. Not the company, that program.
It's really Fate hates the team.
They had so many bad rolls, and all of a sudden they had a couple of good rolls, and a couple of people in the chat were like, I don't know, I need to start putting some stuff into risk. They're doing it, it's too easy for them.
Come on! A couple of good rolls, and then they're all of a sudden like, hey,
that's all it takes.
Let's risk them. It's like, no, it's like, this is evening it back out.
I am so happy right now. I can't even begin to tell you. Just hearing all of this, this is so good. I'm so excited. I'll be honest, every once in a while when we make some of these decisions, like, okay, we're investing into Scry or investing into Foreteller, and we're like, okay, we have to do all this stuff to get into it. Is it worth it? This is the
Mhm.
conversation that shows me that it was worth it. you know.
Caleb, oh my goodness. Art director extraordinaire. My favorite dad joke friend also. What is the challenging aspect of our 2020 development season for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, as Knox and I've been pointed out before, it's like the team here at Hunters, we are a multifaceted group of individuals, and as Ivan's got a talent for collaboration and for putting together really, really good little squads of talented folks, dedicated folks. And I feel like the most challenging thing about this year for me was trying to because I'm not only the art director or an art director here. Knox is also an art director here as well, contributing tons of amazing work and amazing know-how to the artistic pursuits of Hunters Entertainment. But it's sort of like trying to keep up with the artists that I hire. Mainly, it's because I also do freelance work here. I do a number of work for some of the projects that we have here. I am doing some of the work for Ragnarok, Gods of Metal, which is coming out. The Kickstarter is launching very soon,
Just
and
wait. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
yes,
just wait.
it's going to be fantastic. And but I got to say, it's um, the most challenging part is just swiveling around wearing all these different hats, and trying to keep your head on a swivel while you're doing all this other work. um, I Yeah, have a background in theater, so I'm fairly used to being able to collaborate with a team and being able to switch focus from one thing to another. But this past year has been incredibly challenging in that regard for me. And I want to say that I rose to the challenge because the end result with like Alice is Missing and what we're doing with Ragnarok and what we're doing with these new supplements for Altered Carbon. It's really, really exciting stuff. But you're always your harshest critic. So I always want to make sure that I feel like the end result speaks to our audience, to you guys in chat, to the people who purchase the games, who kickstart them, and to the people who end up playing them over and over again, who come back to the stream to watch it, to who like to take part in the drama, and who basically just love taking part in really fun and engaging stories. Um, and that's been the most challenging part for me. It's just sort of like trying to maintain this while at the same time teaching, which is something else I do as well, and art directing and maintaining myself as an artist.
You've always been.
Caleb.
Yeah, sorry, Kia. My bad. I was just going to praise him. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think we're all about to praise him.
Y-
Ivan, go for it.
no, you've always been a brilliant creative, Caleb. You've always been. Like everything you touch has always worked out, even in instances in which we have to go back and revisit things over again. It always gets there in the end, no matter what.
Oh, well,
Um,
that's just part of the thing. What I'm saying is that as a challenge, this just making sure that I also continue to grow. I also put my
yes,
voice into things
yes.
has always been just kind of tricky. And
And the growing part is where we are, because I told you when we first started this process, like, we're going to make a manager out of you, like we're going to make an art director out of you, because you can draw always, like you've always been able to make it, and you can definitely, God, you're so good at talking to artists about getting exactly what you need out of it because you're a teacher, right? So now let's just make the Triforce. Let's just get it so that now you can balance a spreadsheet and get deliverables, which I'm sure has been the most delightful thing for you to learn this year.
Actually, it's not that bad. Because I'm so terrible at it. I've really put a focus at it. It's or I've made it my focus rather, just making sure that I can keep everybody organized and keep communication lines open. It's so incredibly boring, but it sounds really boring, but it's actually one of the most engaging parts of this for me is just making sure that all my artists are happy.
Yes. Yes.
And that's basically it.
You've always been a good advocate. You've always been a great advocate for them. And, it's tough though. It's so tough because we're obviously JB and I are like, we want you to spend this much money on the art. And you're like, yeah, but we could do more. We could do better if we do more. And we're like, we could, but do we? And that's how all the conversations end up happening most of the time. But we get there.
I know, especially with Ragnarok, we had obviously a set budget because we're a company and we have to set budgets. And as much as we want to just go crazy and do all the things, we can't. And now we're at a point where it's like, okay, you want another artist, Ivan? Can we have to though, right? Like we have to get that artist in there, like, and then we just keep fetching a little bit more, and a little bit more.
Guys, go back Gods of Metal Ragnarok.
Yeah, everyone go grab it. I'm gonna
pick up the game.
I'm gonna throw up a screenshot of the Rencon game from Gods of Metal where Caleb played. So it's Caleb, Ben, Knox, Markia, and of course Ivan GMing it. But it's a phenomenal game. If you haven't had a chance to see it yet,
it's fun to have you play too, Kid. We like your hats.
Yeah, and then also, backing that game backs other things that can happen along with the awesomeness that is that game. So, just like share that around to everybody. You never know who needs that escape after, what's a good word for 2020 besides dumpster fire? I'll find it later. But, when they're coming out of that for 2021, you never know who your aunt, your cousin that just keeps on sending you that same meme because they don't know whether or not you like it or not. It's like you don't know who might really appreciate and this might resonate with them. So it's just like send that to them. But Caleb, my dude, I'm gonna gas you up real quick because we needed to have had like a Zoom brunch or something because I know we're in different states. I think we're in different time zones right now. Yeah. We needed to that. I have a beret just like waiting for us to do this because I mean, think about it. Like on live stream, me and chat have had you making Carthusis, and it wasn't just like any person. This is like a heavy metal fantasy.
So good.
Piranha cape happened and like wolf boots and like all this other stuff happened, and you like surpassed with that. And then including with that, you were just like so on board for, I'm like, yeah, let's do a live stream drawing thing. And it'd be like Rag and Bone related, but I'm also going to do like a scenario with the chat. And we're going to talk about Precinct 13 and I'm going to roll them through that. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm going to draw. It's going to be good. And it was amazing.
Seriously.
It was good.
It was amazing.
Great.
If you guys want to just be utterly blown away by the process of an artist at work, go back and watch those two streams because it is just absolutely astonishing to watch Caleb.
You guys are very
working
kind.
his craft.
Thank you. But no, but I mean, I tell this to my students all the time. You're always your worst critic. You never like what you do because you're always learning from it, and that's why that's one of the it's the curse. It's the creative curse. And this is something that I've dealt with my entire life, but it's never been more true than art directing, because all I really want to do is just make sure that the end product looked as tight and on budget as I possibly can. Even though JB and Ivan would probably have something.
I threw your Ragnarok sketch up on screen, so it's not Ragnarok. Your Rag and Bone sketch up on screen.
Oh, thank you.
I love that art.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Me too.
We've also learned at this point, and that's the role you should be fulfilling. It's JB's role as on the business side to try to question how much we should be spending. It's your side to make sure that we get the best results possible for the money we're spending. And then unfortunately, as the creative on my side, doing like the project lead on Ragnarok or whatever the hell I'm doing on this game at the moment, it's my job to just keep asking for things, right?
Yep.
And then that between that you have a product, because if any one of us over dominated the process, it would clearly skew, and it would not have the amount of potential that it needs to be, right?
Well,
So,
and
Agreed.
Ragnarok is such a specific instance, and I've seen some of these other types of products be developed before I got involved with Hunters, but watching Ragnarok develop has been pretty outstanding. And as somebody who's been kind of involved with that, I can tell you right now, before the Kickstarter comes out, this game has no breaks. And when you catch it, like when you see what we have planned, I feel that it is going to explode. I have so much faith in not only the artistic direction, but also what we've kind of brewed up for the lore and the mechanics. It's going to be something unique and really, really fun.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Actually, there's like okay. I'm gonna spin the wheel for our final topic, and it's ooh, the timing on this. It's Ragnarok, y'all. Oh my gosh.
I'm
mean,
starting to believe that you don't have a wheel.
Yeah,
behind
your,
you.
your invisible wheel that tells you all the answers seems to be
No,
a
no,
little
no.
bit.
It's right here. It's on a green stand. And it's the green wheel.
Right, the green screen wheel.
Yeah, no, it's like right here. Look, see? I'm pointing to Ragnarok.
I mean, we have to believe you.
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
dude,
It's
y'all,
also on green paper with green ink.
Caleb finished the
Yes.
cover after doing a revision on it in the last Tuesday meeting we had. No. This game is here now. Like this cover is perfect. We've had to go through a couple versions of the cover. We were
Are
there.
we allowed to tease this, Ivan, or not?
I mean, I don't mind showing the cover a little bit as long as Caleb's okay with it, because there are some parts of it that aren't done on the bottom. But
All right, it's on you,
Hey,
Caleb.
not final art.
not final
Sure.
art.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can preface it before you show it if you.
Yeah, no, it's not final by any stretch of the imagination. But in the last meeting that we had for the game, I think everyone, like Chris, myself, everyone was like, because we've been like noodling about, okay, we've been literally noodling it, like just going over the process, nitpicking the shit out of this thing. But let me
Not literally noodling it. We have not actually been turning it into noodles.
No,
It
we
has been-
literally were turning it into noodles. Is
I
what
would
was
eat.
trying
I would
to
eat
say.
that ramen.
Okay.
I would eat that ramen. But I'm gonna post
Send
the link
nudes.
so that JB can potentially do something with it, unless you just want me to make it into a background, which I'm less excited
No,
about
no,
because
go
it's a
ahead and send-
piece.
Go ahead and send
Nah,
it to
you
me.
got to
I'll
see
get-
the whole
I'll get
thing.
this
Send it
for
to
it.
JB. JB's
Yeah.
a pro.
So the challenge has been, it's like, this is we had to go through it. There was versions with like not enough lightning, and then there was a version with like way too much lightning, and
Like-
then then we had to go through and talk about stuff, and then he made a bunch of you'll see it in a sec, but you'll see a bunch of like the monsters and the critters that are on it, and we're like, oh, that's amazing. Where can we go with this? And it's like, it's such a process, dude. I've never actually made a game that has had this much collaborative process, and I can't tell if that's just because of me being lazy or everybody else being amazing. So,
No, it's because we were workshopping it for months.
All
I
right,
mean, I feel like
it is
it's
on screen now. So it is
Okay.
phenomenal.
Can we describe it for anybody who's just listening right now?
if anyone who's just listening right now, so the concept
Caleb,
is,
actually, can you
yes,
describe it, please?
allow me to do my very best to paint you guys a word tapestry. Good Lord. How do I begin? So we've got it's this crimson background of orange and purple clouds and nebula. We have the occasional little planet emerging from this atmosphere way off in the distance. A couple of stupid little dragons like fluttering in the background as well. But in the foreground, we've got a colossal skirmish between a hugely bemuscled rock and roll I want to just like a pure savage beast with long, you know, magnificent hair, you know, his rippling sinews and are hurled, are sort of like poised up to the heavens in a triumphant roar. He's got this colossal, ridiculous sword in one hand. He's barely armored in like, you know, leather straps and spikes all over the joint. In front of him is a sort of demonic bestial warrior who is, you know, going into a berserker rage and slashing out a bunch of against a group of enemies. Right up against us is an armored Valkyrie with a Kenny or sorry, a Lenny Killmeister type hat, sort of dipped down, hiding her steely glare as she unloads a ridiculous machine gun all around us, lasers and bullets flying everywhere. And surrounding them are just this just pure surreal menagerie of unthinkable monstrosities, melting soldiers, stone golems with their heads on fire, gigantic mega liches, you know, an undead sorcerer with a burning guitar, tiny little demonic imps with the very latest in you know, high tech headphones. And all
Bose
of them
cherubs, I believe. Is that right? Bose cherubs?
Bose imps.
Bose imps. Bose imps.
Yeah.
And all of them are about to just get their asses wrecked by this magnificent band of unspeakably awesome and ridiculous rock and roll metal heroes and anti-heroes. Welcome to the realms of Ragnarok.
Holy can I F bomb?
You cannot. You can't
excuse my heaving bosom right now.
Bosoms should be heaving.
Key, have you
all
seen this
bosoms
one
should
yet?
heave.
Have you
My
seen this
bosom is
piece yet?
heaving.
I haven't seen this yet.
Oh, I'm so glad you
But
got to see it
I
here.
have seen it. I just did.
Well, I'm happy because
Oh.
I had forgotten that and I maybe actually Alex, probably you hadn't had a chance to see this version.
No, this is my first time seeing it too. Yeah,
dude. I mean, this is where it's at
it is
when it comes to
absolutely
this
metal.
one. Yeah.
The description that I liked the most was that the mega like rifles that the characters are wielding not only fire lasers, but they also fire bullets, because why not both? That is a perfect description of what Ragnarok is. Well, it could just shoot lasers, but what about lasers and bullets?
Honestly, that is the
What
perfect,
about bullets made of lasers?
It's the perfect analogy of what Ivan and Caleb do to me on a daily basis. So, like, I know we could just do lasers for this game, but do we have the budget for bullets too? Do we have the budget for both?
We have the bullets. Can we do bullets? We can do bullets.
We can do bullets.
Yeah.
The incentives on the Kickstarter, the add-ons. I mean, all of it is going to be so colossal. I can't even begin to say anything about it.
It's but I can though. We're gonna have
but I can.
We're so in the game, as you've seen, we do tributes, right? Like tributes, and we had degrees of success and degrees of failure trackers on our Outbreak as well too. Our goal is to unlock not just an add-on, but like a full-blown stretch goal for the tribute picks, and these picks will be giant, like super thick guitar picks that are custom printed to showcase tributes. You're going to get them for free with certain pledges if we get to certain stretch goals unlocked with it. We're currently working right now on getting full-blown maquettes of the gods of metal done.
It's insane.
Like 12-inch, not
miniatures. These are not
miniatures. Maquettes, and not like
hugitures.
bust up hugitures, like 12-inch. You know, we're still getting some of the final details on it, but each one of these maquettes would come with a prayer candle devoted to their god. So you get Kekatari, and then you get Kekatari's candle, which is going to have some of the most obscene, ridiculous scents you could possibly imagine. We're not talking like vanilla and cinnamon
Oh,
and
geez, yeah.
lilacs and lilies. No, I don't even want to say what they are yet because I want to get into them. But we're looking at things like
leave
bourbon.
something to the imagination. They have to
I
be
think-
surprised somehow.
I think bourbon was a really good note to end on.
Yeah,
For the
bourbon.
candle flavors, not flavors,
Scents.
aromas.
Oh, they're flavored
You could
aromas.
probably eat them, but we don't recommend it.
I don't recommend it. Yeah, and we're gonna have a bunch of add-ons, so it's one of those things where we're keeping the pledges levels pretty minimal because it's either we've learned that you either want all of it or you just want the thing, right?
Yeah.
So, but for the people who are very interested in add-ons, Kickstarter has a new process where you can actually add add-ons on the page now. We're gonna do that. It's a brand new thing Kickstarter's doing, so we're gonna add that in and see how much people want to just add, a thing here, an extra die here, an extra, an extra pin set or whatever we want to be able to put into the part of the process.
No one is ever going to make fun of the D4 again. I promise you.
Ever.
No.
The most metal of dice is going to shine in its pure zinc glory. All right.
Take its rightful place on the pedestal.
That's it.
The dice are fucking cool, guys. Obviously, they're effing cool. They're really, really cool.
Everyone who's watching this right now clicked a mature content warning, so they
fuck it then.
they know.
Yeah, I mean, just judging from our streams, I believe we had an alpha stream and then a stream before that where we were like, so where we did the play test of everything, and I know that it was an epic adventure that also involved delving into a cave, a very deep cave, and with that cave there's a lot of things that are cave like and worms that are
trust me,
involved
there
in
was
the
a curvaceous sides. Each one of the walls of the caves just had round mounds that like leaned into each other. And then yes, there was a giant
spasmic
worm.
constriction that could happen with this cave adventure.
Yeah.
You know.
This is Ragnarok, everybody. This is Ragnarok. So thus the Beatworm was born. So
yes, the Beatworm.
I love that the entire thing started because you said ice cave and we did not hear you say ice cave.
Yeah.
We heard ass cave and we just went with it.
Yeah, it's a nice cave.
Yeah.
It's a real nice cave.
Yeah.
So
but how about some character talk? I mean, I feel like the gatherings people, our community has heard me talk about Carthusis a lot. I love Carthusis. Oh my god, Carthusis, they are my catharsis,
because you're catharsis,
kind of a thing.
Carthusis.
So
Yep.
But let's chat some other characters. Let's chat other things like Ragnarok, production and in front of camera stuff.
It's a beast. This whole game, there's so much paperwork, everybody.
Can you talk about the umbilical descent, Ivan?
Oh yeah, we can totally. I mean, again, we'll see how much of it's actually going to be in the Kickstarter. We're really hoping to have like a real version of it. But at this point, I would just be happy for people knowing that the adventure exists. The goal in Gods of Metal Ragnarok to include in the book as well as on the page is we wanted to make an actual adventure that people can play knowing none of the rules. The Metal Master, the GM or the MM, the Metal Master, can take an umbilical descent, learn the game a little bit, or even just run it straight from there, and then run this scenario for people who didn't even have to pick up a book. And by the time they're done with it, they'll actually have popped out avatars, because the origins of avatars in Gods of Metal Ragnarok, it's a pipeline. Mundania sucks. But the Mundanians their tedium and sufferings, they shine so bright, and their tedium and suffering is so magnificent that the metal gods send the Rognu skull, the iron angels, the lead angels, and they pluck them from Mundania and take them to Ragnarok and place them on the umbilical descent, which is this like onyx black and bone white helix that comes down out of the sky. And in the umbilical descent is when Mundanians become avatars through an arduous process that involves these Rogue New Skull, who basically forge them, sometimes literally in fire, to become the avatars. And when they come out of the umbilical descent, they are now avatars of Ragnarok, descending down the mountainside into the city of Nox Torund, which is where the umbilical descent is carved into the mountain that the helix is on top, that the helix like punches right into. So it's kind of like the Fallout tutorial when you're like, okay, let's do this. This is a little bit of the instructions here. This is how you do skill checks, but it's all wrapped up in a story. Here's how you pick your positions. Here's how you pick your tone. Here's 15 people making bad decisions in front of you and being eviscerated, kind of a situation. And it's very, the goal is to basically, in a single one shot, feel like you not only know the tone, you know the world, and you have characters by the time you're out of it. So,
And it's something that functions within the larger scope of whatever game you're playing. It's not just a tutorial to be a tutorial, but Ivan's designed it so that it actually carries you into the game, because this is part of your character's forging. And it's when your character becomes who they are, because in Mundania, you're somebody else and you're brought into this world and you're given the opportunity to take on the mantle of an avatar and to try to prove yourself worthy of the gods. And this is where that seed gets planted.
Yep. And hopefully a seed that is being watered and fertilized by little sound bits provided by Jason Charles Miller.
Yeah.
That you can play during key descriptions.
Oh, man. Again, like whatever you're expecting, just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
It's cool though. I think the big thing on the character side is we just really want all this stuff to look so good, and it's just taking time to get it all done. We're excited for the Kickstarter, and we're excited to take you along the journey for it. I know in my experience, the more the game is finished by the time you run a Kickstarter, the better, just because of development and as far as managing people's expectations goes. But this game is truly like one of those where I'm like, okay, this is a journey, y'all, and we're gonna all go on it, and we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna be spending a good part of this year just making it effing awesome. So
you're gonna see a lot of Ragnarok in 2021.
A lot. And if there was, and there probably won't be, but we're just saying if there was, there will be a lot of Knox renting a van, driving to Gen Con with the logo on the side of it and a local band literally playing out in the middle of the Gen Con square, and us just doing a merch van. We're not going to have a booth at Gen Con.
Yeah, we're going to fuck up some
merch
conventions.
Van.
Yeah.
we need to go Mad Max with it and literally just have like speakers and stuff on top. Literally someone just playing a flaming guitar.
Yeah.
I claim that, but it's flaming flute.
Right, the
rock
flute.
I'm
I was
on
gonna
it.
say if we're gonna put anyone on front that's like screaming like a la Fury Road style, it's got to be like JB, but he's TDing. It looks like he's like being crucified on the front of the front of the car, but he's actually just got his hands on the situation. We're putting him in a big steel cage.
He's embraced the fire. Kind of.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that he can then come out of it reborn into his new personage.
Well, and Alex grew his hair out for Ragnarok's release, and we really appreciate that.
Specifically.
Alex's hair shows how much time we put into making this game perfect before we started the Kickstarter. He was bald when we started this, so it's
it's true. A lot of work.
Yeah.
Oh, I do still remember the first time that I heard about Ragnarok. It was on one of my visits out to LA, and in between doing like stop-ins because like I was visiting queue times, like our friends over there and stuff like that. I met up with Ivan at a little diner, and just out of nowhere he was like, hey, I'm going to send you a link real quick, and then I want to know what your thoughts are about this. And it's like a 30-page manuscript that he links me just out of nowhere, out of the blue, and like wants feedback on it immediately. And I'm like, can I have a minute to read the 30 pages? Like, I've never even seen this, but like, let's talk about it. Let's do this.
Nice. It was a board game. Did we ever talk about it when it was still the board game, Alex, or was it?
Yeah. I think that's the state that it was still technically in when you first showed it off to me.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, because Gods of Metal was a board game. It was like it was a way that we wanted to introduce into board games, but it very slow, or not very slowly, it very quickly devolved into
Let's just do the RPG.
Let's do the RPG because it's much better.
It's like, just do what you want to do. You don't have to
No.
put it in another format.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It was totally. We were just talking about. It's like, oh, we haven't done a board game yet. We should do a board game, and then it was, instead of having to, like you said, have to fill those criteria. It's just like, no, it's gonna be an RPG. It's just gonna be an RPG.
Just go full bore here.
Hit it in the face with a hammer.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm excited though. We're gonna do all the. God, I just want to say everything. Someone shut me up. Marquia, shut me up.
I'm just gonna mute you on Zoom. Is that cool?
Yeah.
We gotta cut your mic now.
No, it's like I'm also curious if, like, maybe Caleb, depending on how you feel about this, I'm gonna throw this out here because, whatever, boundaries, but like upcoming in like 2021, with future videos, gatherings, or whatever, maybe we could have something involving the community where they can have their Ragnarok character, like if we do like a drawing or something, and then they can have their Ragnarok character embodied by you, kind of like how I got Carthusis, my Ragnarok character embodied by you. I think that would be a really fun thing for us to have, like, going into the future.
Oh, I want that. Like, I would enroll in that, whatever that contest is. Absolutely, we should do that.
100%.
Yeah, let's figure it out. We'll talk to Christian and see what we can do about maybe like a follow sort of like scavenger hunt where you go through Twitter and our Twitch and our YouTube and just do a couple of things to make sure that you're promoting the Hunters Entertainment brand. Because in doing so, we enroll you to have your avatar designed by Caleb.
We can do because we're going to probably be putting up the pre-announcement page for Ragnarok in January. Like Kickstarter has a, hey, link, follow it when it goes live.
Yeah.
When we take that live, we can build a whole, like you said, we can build a whole contest around that particular activation of like share, go into it, whether it's a gleam.io or something else. But we could totally have something like that centered around let's share out the pre-launch link.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it sounds like gold.
Yeah, like Caleb, I
totally
was already
agree.
going to ask you if I could commission Carthusis as something I could put on my wall. So
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And that goes for chat as well. Eventually, we'll see how we go.
I know. Yes. Chat. This has been pre-recorded, but of course, with our incredible moderators and our TD, and hopefully I might be able to jump in there too, depending if my seasonal Lord and Master will let me have access to the Wi-Fi.
It's so majestic, that creature right there.
I know. And you know what? It's such a good cause. Everybody's like, oh, if you get a coal in your stocking, oh no.
There's a lot of kids that deserve to be shoved into a sack.
I'm telling you,
lot of work.
There is. And then also, like, Krampus gives you a warning. It's just kind of like, hey, you had this time to just like make things right. And guess what? You didn't. So, I've come to collect. So that's what Krampus
Proud
does.
on yourself.
I'm just saying. So, and then of course, speaking of which, sorry, I got a message on my all green Krampus messenger, also over here, that we are getting close to time, but we do have a little bit of time now to go around to everybody and then to just like either a message that you would like to say to 2020 in general, or just like something that you would like to promote. Feel free. It can be whatever you would like. We do have that time. I would love for you to include your social handle in that if you'd like people to reach out. But we are going to go in the reverse order of what we did before at the beginning of the program. So that means that Knox, our content producer and then connoisseur of risk,
yes,
just whatever ending note that you would like
I
for
just
2020 or
appreciate
in general.
I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the wonderful support that we've gotten. And I'm really happy with what happened in 2020 as far as making Hunters Entertainment a Twitch channel that has a wonderful community around it. We are blessed day by day to continue to work with each other and all of you to continue to make great, great content. You can find me on Tuesdays right here. I'm making Rag and Bone. And we're making this amazing campaign that's using the Outbreak Undead system. You have a lot of say in how things go, as we've already talked about today. So please check that out. Sign up for the Scry if you haven't done so already. You can find me at Eaten by Potchki across all of the social media, but you can also find me at my own Twitch channel, which is Scabby Rooster. And the Scabby Rooster is a tavern, and it's interactive, and we do a lot of other things over there. So make sure to follow that on Twitch and on YouTube as well. Thanks again for having me, Kia.
Of course, always Knox. Oh, miniature painting in our future. Oh,
Yeah.
what's that? Oh, Krampus has let me know that he believes in chaos. So we're gonna do chaos. So I'm gonna choose randomly. Ivan, you are going next. Sorry to put you on the spot, my dude, but yes,
It's fine. No, I have a very short, concise message. It's kind of something I've been thinking about this year. At the beginning of this year, this company was still very small, very, very small. As Alex had mentioned, he's been here forever, and we love him for that. So, but this company, as of this year, has grown leaps and bounds in what we've been wanting to accomplish, what we want to do. And for a long time, Chris and I specifically, we were really scared to like open up the floodgates, bringing in new people, because we just didn't know if we could sustain that kind of a growth. And a very, very, very quick way for companies to lose steam and momentum is to hire too quickly. That's just, sorry, business pig moment there. That happens. People are the most valuable resource. Both, it's just the fact that they are valuable and they do cost money. That's the thing. So on the edge of that, I just want to say I am so happy that everyone who has taken the time to join the company this year and make amazing things happen. A lot of you came because again, Barbie dolls in my little dream house that I made, this little Hunter's Barbie dream house I made, and taking all of you and putting it into the house to do the things. But I mean, we joke about that, but honestly, this is all of you all as much as it is me. I'm here to help and appreciate and guide and steer, but the reason the company is doing as well as it's doing is because you all fucking rock, and you're all amazing, and keep doing it. Thank you.
Oh, Ivan, I'm sorry to tell you that Krampus, the chaos master that he is, might actually cut your stream at any time, which will put JB in a flux. And I'm sorry to tell you this now. I only just got this information from him.
You know what?
So...
You know what? The easy way, I will deal with it in every way. Actually, I won't deal with it. JB will deal with it, because that's what JB does. He cleans up all of my mistakes.
Yep.
Yeah. So just saying there might be a confusion, but what does he want to do with a wintry entity like it is Krampus? But continuing forward with our chaos, Caleb, apparently Krampus would love for you to do your 2020 message next.
I'm glad that you asked me next, because I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I hope we've got time for this, but
We do.
Okay, good, because there... Oh, sorry, just one second. Oh, it's apparently I just got I have a thing with the local police department. Apparently they just got their toilet stolen. Yeah, they got nothing to go on. It's crazy.
Oh.
Well, I'll check that out later.
I'm gonna leave now.
Anyway, so what I was saying was 2020 can eat it, and 2021 is gonna rock really, really hard, and it's going to be fantastic. And I love all of you all, and I love working with you all. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. It was really, I was going to write it down. It was really profound. Oh, well.
We adore you. Alex, your 2020 message.
Oh, 2020 can stick it. I'm glad to see that one in the rear view mirror. And even despite the fact, though, that it's been such a just absolute clusterfuck of a year, I'm really proud of this team and everything that we've managed to accomplish over the course of just in an absolutely unprecedented, insane year. And I'm really excited for what the future holds. Not just for just the internal side of things, but for all of our community as well. There's some great stuff coming up, and I'm really happy about it. Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Of course. JB, 2020 or any other leaving message?
Well, I know 2020 has been hard for everybody, but because of what happened with 2020, that's the only reason that all the convention stuff went digital. It's the only reason that we decided that we can do this, and we decided to switch and do it full time instead of just during conventions. And it's really the reason that Stream Team exists, and it's the reason this Twitch exists. So while 2020 does suck, and as Alex said, it can stick it. I'm glad it happened. Not all the terrible stuff, but I'm glad that we were able to get together and form this little family and keep putting out content on a regular basis. Like I said, I'm usually behind the scenes, and you don't usually see my face, and I don't usually get emotional. But I'm so glad to have all of you every single week and do this over and over and over again.
And I guess that leaves me, Krampus's unsung helper. And I will have to say that with 2020, I have called it the Mercury retrograde year, where it's just like everything was on pause, everything had to be analyzed and discovered. And what does this mean? I need to be in my feelings right now, but I also need to connect with people, and like, oh, I can't touch people, but thank gosh, there's online and Zoom. And it's just like this gigantic pause that for me has been on my life in a number of areas is what 2020 did. So yes, I would like to Godzilla like stomp it and then like eat it and then just like poo it and bury it and then like set that on fire, which is 2020. I think that's like the most professional scientific way of going about it. But along with that, there has been such an awareness of self, an awareness of the intricacies and nuance of community, the awareness of what it is that we do versus the things that we enjoy, and where that actually meets. That if 2020 hadn't have happened, I would not be aware of that Venn diagram of where the colors intersect there and what that product means. And I hope that that makes sense as much to the people that are watching right now as it does to me with this. So yes, without 2020, I don't know if I would have wound up being able to explore the path in this community that I have here. I don't know if I would have been able to then proceed on the paths that I didn't think that I would be going on, that I will be going on in 2021, with this community, with this company, and then with others also. So, I mean, literally, it's just like life in general, where we have to travel it, we have to live it, and we have to be aware. And of all the things, 2020 just made us turn that volume stat up to 11 while we were going on it. And I want to thank you all so much for us doing this together. What an awesome season finale. All of you, thank you for Hunters Gathering, and especially the chat. I'm going to do my best to also be in the chat, but I know that our excellent moderators that are just like killing it will be there. Anybody else?
Shout out to the mods. Not always weak. Phoenix Goth, you guys are absolutely amazing. You do so much for us on such a regular basis, and we couldn't be happier to have you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Thank you so much, our tech director, JB, like on camera here with us, for making this beautiful Martise and all these all these impromptu images, happen, for making streams like Alice is Missing happen, for making Caleb's and my streams are happening. Watch those on VOD. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. There's so many highlights. I mean, we've done over 25 shows with like Hunters Gathering, because we started in August and now here we are, in December, and it's just like, that's a lot of Fridays. And with those, we have explored so many amazing concepts and so many excellent moments with everybody that you've seen on this screen here. And it's so much good. So we are going to be dark for Christmas Day and then also New Year's Day. January 8th, keep in mind that we might be coming back with something new for you than our normal format, because like a lot of things in 2020, it served its usage, and now we grow from the fertilizer that was 2020. I'm sorry, I need to say better things.
No, it's accurate.
I mean,
It's accurate.
You ate it and you pooped it out, and it's fertilizer now. So we're sticking with this.
This analogy has come full circle.
And it's just growing, Okay, but okay. I'm apparently there's some people that didn't get Krampus's message. So I'm gonna have to sign off right now to be able to, take care of that. Don't worry, there's going to be no evidence. So in that vein, thank you so much for everyone for joining us, those in the chat, those VOD watching it later, and of course our guests that just like rocked it out. And you know what, we'll see you in 2021, because we did it. We survived this, and there's so much more to come. So until then, my awesome family that's out there.
Thank you.